Good evening, folks. Welcome to the MIRL Racing League on iRacing for the Titus Family Racing 100 at Martinsville Speedway. The field is just starting to roll now in qualifying. Jake Goodwin took the pole with a speed of 19.411 seconds, close behind Stephen Matthews at a 19.421, and Matthew Barkhouse rounding out the top three with a 19.447. Tight field as the top 13 cars were separated by just over 0.3 of a second. Field's just getting the one to go. Jake Goodwin on the inside in the 24 car. Stephen Matthews in the 00 on the outside. Martinsville's a tight track. These guys should have a decent run here. 16 cars, I believe, are taking the green. And pace car is off. Goodwin gets a great jump out front. And they're wrecking in the back already, the 87 car. Danny Chisholm making contact, but everybody keeps rolling. Goodwin got a great jump. There's about 3 car lengths on Stephen Matthews right now, with Jason Gossi in third, close behind. Sorry, check that. Barkhouse, 26. The top 3 have pulled away. They've got about a quarter of a straightaway on 4th place right now. Pretty much single file all the way through the field right now. No battles. Everybody just settling in, checking the setup, and seeing how everything goes. Right now, Jake Goodwin is the leader in the 24 car. Just behind him, about 0.4 of a second back, is Stephen Matthews in the red and yellow 00 car. Matthew Barkhouse third, 1.25 seconds back. Joe Fitzpatrick fourth, 1.6 back from them, from the leader. Sorry. Mike Rhino is in 5th with David Cassidy right behind him. Mike Alexander in 7th. Right now there's a battle between Ashton Tucker and Ryan Messer for 8th, with Tucker going to the outside and Messer on the inside. Sam Rogers in the 12 car is running 10th right now. Jason Gossi is 11th in the 3. Ricky Arbo, 12th in the 61 car. Right now, from 5th place to 12th place, these guys are all on top of each other. There's a battle right now between David Cassidy and Mike Rhino for 5th. Evan Osborne is running 13th, about a half a straightaway behind that group of cars. George White, about a half a straightaway back from him. Doug Hubley, good ways back. And then Danny Chisholm is running 16th right now. He got damaged right at the beginning. Caution is out. Looks like Sam Rogers went spinning coming out of turn 4 there. Looks like a little bit of contact between Sam Rogers in the 12 and Jason Gossi in the 3. Looks like Martinsville. In this league, both cars involved will go to the rear, so Gossi and Rogers get an EOL there and are going to the end of the field. Quite a few takers on pit road. Looks like Ashton Tucker, Sam Rogers, Evan Osborne, Danny Chisholm, and George White all on pit road right now. The good battle in the field was that one between Dave Cassidy, Mike Alexander, and Mike Rhino. Those guys were really battling hard for a while. I mean, I believe it was Cassidy and Rhino were side by side for quite a bit there. Cassidy finally ended up pulling out the pass and brought Mike Alexander with him. Rhino right now is sitting 7th. And Ryan Messer is sitting 8th. Ricky Arbo started 16th on the field and has worked his way up to 9th already in 14 laps. So looks like Ricky's having a pretty decent run. Going back green. Jake Goodwin gets a decent jump again. Gets out in front of Steve Matthews. Matthews tucks in line. 15 cars up in the wall. Looks like Mike Alexander. Looks like he just overshot the corner and went up the track a little bit. Fell all the way back to 9th. Right now the battle is Ryan Messer and Mike Rhino for 6th and 7th, side by side going into 3. Top 5 pretty much running nose to tail. Looks like Steve Matthews is going to give a little bit of a run on Jake Goodwin. Tucks back in line though, can't get a run on him. Messer clears Rhino, and Ricky Arbo looks inside too. He's going to follow along. Mike Alexander's back in line and looks like he's back running up to speed again after missing the corner at the beginning of that start. Ashton Tucker sitting right behind him. These 4 cars are nose to tail going into 3. Rhino peeks to the outside. Tucks back in, can't do anything. Arbo gets the jump on him coming off the corner. Pretty much single file all the way through the top 10 right now. All the way through the field, in fact. Everybody's single file, strung out. Top 10 cars right now. Basically nose to tail. There's a little bit of a gap between Ryan Messer and Ricky Arbo. And then you get back to Ashton Tucker. There's a 4-car train there, and then everybody from behind them is 8 car lengths back and pretty much fading back more and more. Thanks everybody for joining No Brakes TV. I'd like to thank Randy Titus for sponsoring the Titus Family Racing 100 for the MIRL Racing League on iRacing at Martinsville. Caution flag is out for a spin coming off of turn 4. 87 car of Danny Chisholm sitting backwards. Under this caution, Jake Goodwin is still the leader. Lap 26, so 25 laps completed. Steve Matthews still running second, with Matthew Barkhouse third, David Cassidy fourth, Ryan Messer fifth. Looks like Matthew Barkhouse is going onto pit road, as well as the 41 car of Evan Osborne. Basically, everybody from 6th on back right now is on pit road. Looks like the first car off of pit road will be the the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. Looks like a few cars chose to take 2 tires, and that will put Matthew Barkhouse, who came in, I believe he was 3rd when he came in. He will be restarting toward the rear of the cars that pitted, showing him in 12th position right now. Mike Rhino also back there in 14th. Doubling up to take the restart here. Jake Goodwin, the 24 car, still holding the lead. Steve Matthews in 2nd, David Cassidy 3rd in the 13, Ryan Messer 4th, and Ricky Arbo rounding out the top 5. Pace cars off. Goodwin gets another good jump, clears Matthews and gets about 2 car lengths on him. Right now the battle for 3rd has David Cassidy and Ryan Messer side by side down the backstretch. Cassidy with the advantage being on the bottom. Messer drives in hard. Actually gets a good run on Cassidy. Still side by side. Messer finally does clear Cassidy. Cassidy tucks in 4th. Ricky Arbo in 5th. John Fitzpatrick 6th. Nick Alexander 7th. Ashton Tucker 8th. Jason Gossi 9th. And George White rounds out the top 10. The field pretty much back to single file again. The only battle really on track right now is the 26 of Barkhouse just past the 71 of George White. Now, Evan Osborne and Rhino, and Rogers as well, now clears the 71 of White. Rhino gives a shot to the 41 car. David Cassidy, Ricky Arbo is round out the top 5. Jake Goodwin's car just looks really smooth. I haven't really seen him miss a beat at all in these 36 laps so far. Matthews is about the same. I mean, Goodwin is not pulling away any. Matthews is staying the same gap. 0.06 of a second is all Goodwin gained that last time around. Battle for 5th right now between Ricky Arbo and John Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick looked inside but could not pull off the pass. Dave Cassidy gets loose. Arbo sticks his nose in there. Battle for 4th right now. Ricky Arbo makes the pass. John Fitzpatrick looks inside of Cassidy. He's going to follow along. Mike Alexander's right there with him. Cassidy goes a little wide into turn 1 and 2. Alexander's there. Ashton Tucker right behind him now. Cassidy still holding strong on the outside. Alexander finally clears him. Tucker's door to door with him now. Cassidy still stuck up on the outside. Here comes Jason Gossi now to his inside. Matthew Barkhouse is on fresh tires. He's right there as well. Cassidy still hung up on the outside. Gossi finally clears him going into 1 and 2. Barkhouse follows and has now cleared him as well. Jake Goodwin has lost a little bit of ground. Steve Matthews gained about 0.2 of a second on him. He's within, I'd say, a car length and a half of his rear bumper now. About half a straightaway back to Ryan Messer in 3rd. Ricky Arbo about 5 car lengths back from Messer. And then from there back you have Fitzpatrick, Alexander, and Tucker all tucked up basically right there. Tucker has a little bit of a gap on Alexander, but 5th, 6th, 4th, 5th, and 6th are basically nose to tail coming down the backstretch right now. Battle right now for 8th. Barkhouse clears Gossi for 8th position. Cassidy going to tuck in behind him and follow back through, hopefully. Gossi gets a good run on the outside and clears Cassidy on the outside. Cassidy's going to drive in a little too hard into the corner. It almost gave him a good shot to that 3 car. Cassidy got loose up off. Gossi will pull back away by about 4 car lengths. Jake Goodwin gained about 1/10 of a second again on Steve Matthews the last 2 laps. See what the gap is this time by. Another 0.06 of a second. To me, it looks like Matthews is getting a better run through 1 and 2, but loses a little bit of ground to Goodwin in 3 and 4. Everybody pretty much single file all through the field. Jake Goodwin still holding that 0.3 of a second lead, just over 3.5 of a second right now. Ryan Messer still about 6 car lengths back. Back behind them, though, you have Ricky Arbo, John Fitzpatrick, Mike Alexander, Ashton Tucker, and Matthew Barkhouse battling right now for 7th position. Tucker up on the outside, Barkhouse on the inside. Barkhouse gets a good run going into 3 and 4. Tucker uses that outside to his advantage, pulls back ahead of him down the straightaway. Goes a little wide, Barkhouse gets another run down underneath him. Tucker clears him on the outside, coming off the corner again. About the only battle on track right now. Everybody else pretty much running single file. Steve Matthews sitting right there in Jake Goodwin's tracks though. One little slip and Steve Matthews is going to be there to pounce on Jake Goodwin. He's got the gap to 0.166 seconds. It's about a half a car length between Goodwin and Matthews. Good battle going on a few laps ago between John Fitzpatrick and Mike Alexander. Two were side by side battling. Still side by side battling. And that's the battle for 5th position. Alexander on the bottom. Fitzpatrick on the outside. Just like I was saying before, that outside line coming off the corner just gets such a good run that Fitzpatrick clears and Alexander has to tuck back in line. Jake Goodwin back to about 0.3 of a second lead, but Steve Matthews right there. Lap 55, 5 laps past halfway. Leaders have about 3/4 of a straightaway lead. Right now, battle for 4th. John Fitzpatrick looks underneath of Ricky Arbo. Side by side going into turn 1 and 2. Fitzpatrick on the bottom in the red 78 car. Arbo in the black and white number 61 on the outside. Once again, that outside line. Fitzpatrick has an advantage going into the corner. Arbo pulls coming out. Arbo gets a little loose. They're dead even at the stripe. Good battle here between the 78 and the 61. Fitzpatrick and Arbo. Right behind them, Mike Alexander in the 15 car was running 3rd and on a restart went up the track and caught the fence. Good comeback by him. Fitzpatrick clears Arbo finally. Now Alexander going to try to follow through. Alexander underneath of Arbo right now. Arbo gets that big run off the corner. Alexander has to tuck back in. Clears him. Alexander tucks in line. Out front, the 24 car, Jake Goodwin. Followed by the 00 Steve Matthews, Ryan Messer in the number 1 car running 3rd, John Fitzpatrick 4th. Caution is out. Looking back at the replay, looks like the number 3 car of Jason Gossi coming into turns 3 and 4. The 26 car checked up. Matthew Barkhouse. And Jason Gossi got into the rear and spun him around. That was the cause for the yellow. Under this caution, quite a few cars pit. That'll hand the lead over to the 78 car, John Fitzpatrick. Jake Goodwin sitting second right now. George White just pitted. So Jake Goodwin will come back through for 8. Ashton Tucker 9th. And Mike Rhino rounding out the top 10. Outside, Ryan Messer 3rd. Stephen Matthews 4th. Ricky Arbo 5th. See if John Fitzpatrick can do anything with Jake Goodwin. Jake Goodwin dominated this race so far. Lap 66 of 100. 78 gets a shot from behind on the restart. Gets really sideways. Thought he was going to take out the whole field there. Clears the 24 of Goodwin. Matthews on the outside of Messer. He'll clear him coming off of 2. Goodwin looking low for the lead. Inside of the 78 of Fitzpatrick. Matthews hot on his tail. It's Mike Alexander on the outside of the number 1 car, Ryan Messer. Jake Goodwin will look underneath the 78 still. He's under him. He clears him off of 2 and takes the lead back. Steve Matthews going to try to follow suit. 78 kind of pinches Matthews down. Almost got him into the curb there in 3 and 4. Matthews side by side with the 78 for second. Ryan Messer sitting 4th right behind these guys with Ricky Arbo and Mike Alexander side by side behind them. Matthew Barkhouse, who went spinning on the last caution, right behind Alexander. Still right now the battle for second is on. Steve Matthews finally clears Fitzpatrick. Ryan Messer going to stick his nose in there and try to follow suit. As these guys are battling, Jake Goodwin's pulled out to a 7.5 tenth of a second. 0.783 seconds now. The lead for Jake Goodwin over Steve Matthews. Matthews going to try to draw back in, get back to his bumper. Battle for third, Ryan Messer and John Fitzpatrick. Ryan Messer still is not cleared Fitzpatrick. He will clear him now in the corner, and he's clear up off. So right now your top 3, Jake Goodwin, Steve Matthews, Ryan Messer, Ricky Arbo 4th, John Fitzpatrick 5th, Mike Alexander 6th. Matthew Barkhouse 7th, Sam Rogers 8th, Ashton Tucker 9th, Evan Osborne rounding out the top 10 in the 41 car. Right now that 78 car, John Fitzpatrick, starting as the leader. He's falling back in the field. Finally gets in line. Oh, and the 26 car, Barkhouse. Fitzpatrick tried to cut down. There was not a hole there. Barkhouse had nothing to do but get into the back of him. Fitzpatrick saved the car, but it cost Barkhouse because he let him regain it. Now Sam Rogers to the outside of Barkhouse. That's the battle for 7th position. Big group of cars, 2 by 2 by 2. That is the 26 of Barkhouse, the 12 of Rogers, the 32 of Tucker, 41 of Osborne, the 34 of Rhino, and the 13 of David Cassidy. We're 2 by 2 by 2 there for a while. Now they're back single file again. Cassidy, I believe, is being scored 1 lap down in 13th. John Fitzpatrick fading again. Looks like he actually just moved up. Must be having handling issues with that vehicle. He just moved up and let 3 cars go by. Here comes the 41 of Evan Osborne, gives him a shot in the tail. Fitzpatrick sideways. Osborne lets him regain it once again. Looking back to the scoring, John Fitzpatrick with a bold move. Everybody else basically on the lead lap. The oldest set of tires from 1st to 13th is 15 laps. John Fitzpatrick has 52. on his tires right now. So he's just struggling to hold on to that car. I think the 41 car got really loose behind them. Evan Osborne regains it, gets back going again. Out front, Jake Goodwin in the 24 car, 1.2 seconds over Steve Matthews. Matthews and Ryan Messer having a good battle for second. Messer right there on Matthews' back bumper. Ricky Arbo shortly right behind them. Messer keeps trying to look low. Right there, he hit the curb coming off of turn 4. Allows Matthews to pull away just a little bit. About 2 or 3 car lengths Matthews pulled. Once again, Steve Matthews, Ryan Messer, Ricky Arbo, second, third, fourth, nose to tail. Jake Goodwin with 1.6 second interval on these guys now. Mike Alexander rounding out the top 5 right now. He's just riding. He's about 8 car lengths back behind Ricky Arbo in fourth. And from there, looks like Alexander has about another half straightaway, 3/4 of a straightaway back to Barkhouse in 6th. About the same gap back to 7th to Ashton Tucker. Mike Rhino about 5 car lengths behind him. Fitzpatrick, who we talked about earlier, right now sitting 9th. Looks like he's still just struggling with the handling on that car. $15 laps to go in the Titus Family Racing 100 for the MIRL League for iRacing.com. No Brakes TV. Randy Titus taking over sponsorship with the Titus Family Racing. Greatly appreciated. Tight battle on the field right now is still second, third, and fourth. Matthews, Messer, and Arbo. Messer can get to Arbo's rear bumper, just can't do anything with him. As these guys are battling, Jake Goodwin just riding out front. 1.5 seconds over second place. Matthews, Messer, Arbo, Alexander rounding out the top 5. Messer doing everything he can with Steven Matthews. Just hit the fence coming down the front stretch at the start-finish line. Lap traffic. The number 71 of George White moving over for the 24 of Jake Goodwin, sorry. Ryan Messer and Steve Matthews still tight. About 2 car lengths down the straightaway. Messer gets to about half a car length in the corner. Matthews just gets such a good run off the corner. Pulls away. Second, third, and fourth cleared the lap car of White. Here comes Mike Alexander. He's also cleared the lap car of George White. Just got a note from race control. If Jake Goodwin wins this race, he will be the first repeat winner for the MIRL this season. Messer getting really loose up off the corner, trying to do everything he can to get by Stephen Matthews for second. Working lap 95 right now. Goodwin with 1.6 seconds over Stephen Matthews, Ryan Messer, Ricky Arbo, Mike Alexander rounds out the top 5. No real battles on track other than that one for second, third, and fourth. Everybody's pretty spread out at this point. 5 laps to go right now. 5 laps to go for the number 24 of Jake Goodwin. 4 laps at the line. 1.5 seconds the gap back to Stephen Matthews in second. Ryan Messer hot on Matthews' tail. He's been there since the last restart 34 laps ago. Beginning of the race, I thought Steve Matthews was going to give a good run to Goodwin for the win, but Goodwin just showed the strength of his car and pulled away once he got by the 78 of John Fitzpatrick. Matthews followed pretty close suit, but just could not do anything with him. 2 to go this time by for Jake Goodwin in the 24 car. Coming down the back stretch into 3 and 4. Very smooth. As I said earlier this race, I really did not see that 24 wiggle at all. White flag this time by. Down the back stretch through 3 and 4. Your winner, Jake Goodwin. Coming home second, Stephen Matthews. Ryan Messer third. Ricky Arbo fourth. Mike Alexander fifth. Matthew Barkhouse sixth. Ashton Tucker seventh. Mike Rhino eighth. Evan Osborne ninth. John Fitzpatrick rounding out the top 10. Fitzpatrick was also the last car on the lead lap. George White 11th. David Cassidy 12th. Jason Gossi 13th. Sam Rogers 14th. Doug Hubley 15th. And Danny Chisholm 16th. Jake Goodwin doing some burnouts. Makes a little contact with Stephen Matthews while doing it.
Kind of give a run.
Everybody, want to thank you for coming and watching the race here. No Brakes Racing, sorry, No Brakes TV. My name is Philip Ellis. I filled in for Thomas Vanas. Thomas got held up at work tonight and could not make it. Last minute deal. I got put in the booth and really enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody, for letting me do it. I want to thank everybody for coming and watching this race. It was the Titus Family Racing 100, brought to you by MIRL and Martinsville 100. Randy Titus, thank you for coming on board and sponsoring this race. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for letting me do it. We'll see you next time. Also, a note, Jake Goodwin, with this win, locked himself into the icebreaker on Sunday. The ISTRA Icebreaker. Jake Goodwin locked himself in, and he will be a starter, guaranteed. No matter what happens in the heat races and everything, he's in that race. So check that one out this weekend. Congratulations, Jake Goodwin, Steve Matthews, and Ryan Messer for finishing 1, 2, 3 tonight. For Phil Ellis for No Brakes TV, signing off. Thank you, everybody.